I'm Diego Sanchez, president of HousingWire, and this is 10-Minute Talks. My guest today is Shashank Shekhar, CEO and founder of InstaMortgage. Shashank, welcome to 10-Minute Talks.
Thank you, Diego. Looking forward to our conversation.
Before we dive in, could you give a 60-second introduction of yourself and InstaMortgage?
Sure. As you said, I'm founder and CEO at InstaMortgage. Other than running a mortgage company, I am also a best-selling author, a keynote speaker, podcast host, and an innovator. InstaMortgage is an IMB headquartered in San Jose. We are a tech-forward company, and we were named the fastest-growing mortgage company in America by Financial Times.
Amazing. And you founded the company in 2008, which was right in the middle of the great financial crisis, which is an interesting time to found a mortgage company. Why did you do that?
Oh, the stupid things we do in our lives, huh? Not exactly, actually. I was new to the country. I was about 18 months in the country. I knew 3 people in the entire country, so practically no sphere of influence, so to say, and at $1,900 in savings. But I knew a little bit about mortgages. I used to run operations for a mortgage company in India. I got transferred here to Silicon Valley to run the business. And what I saw in 2008 was really this entire mayhem that was caused by lack of education in the mortgage process. A lot of people who had signed their mortgage documents not really knowing what they were signing up for or what they were signing on. And I thought in my small way, I could potentially try to change that by making education really a cornerstone or pillar of my business. And that's why as early as 2009, I was blogging when less than probably 10 people were blogging in the industry back then. Since then, my blogs, my books, my ebooks, guides, videos have probably reached over 1 million homeowners, if not more, and has helped really thousands of people potentially be a homeowner that they might not have been. So in a small way, as I said, the entire purpose was really not for the second generation to go through the same pain of lack of education that the generation, say, before us or the generation of 2008 had to go through by losing their homes to foreclosure, which could have been avoided.
Walk me through those first couple of years. Like you said, you were pretty new to the U.S., didn't have a network. How did you get that business off the ground? What was your methodology to kickstart growth?
Yeah, as I said, the stupid things we do is because you might have a very lofty mission or a vision or what you want to do, and then you get into the weeds and realize that the most important thing probably is to get clients and have some revenue, because without revenue, there is no existence of business. And so that's tricky. The good thing for me is that I actually found a way to solve both the problems, which is education and getting clients through one medium, which is at that point of time was blogging. It was really looking at the consumer shift happening in the late 2000s. By late 2000, I mean 2008, 2009, in that decade, where a lot of consumer preference was moving from watching news and reading newspapers to online, where people were consuming a lot of their information via blogs. Videos were not that big at that point in time. And I saw an opportunity both in terms of spreading my message far and wide and being able to tap onto this new age media, so to say, at that point in time. And that's really created, I should not say a big shift because nothing happened overnight. I remember I used to write 2 or 3 blogs a week. And I did that for 6 months straight before I got my first call and someone actually read the blog post. And most people would have given up by then is because they would think this thing does not work, is because nobody is really reading what I'm writing here. And I wasn't even a good writer. Most of my early posts really are cringy. I still keep them just to have benchmark on how bad I was to begin with. But really, the focus really was on spreading the message. I mean, getting that education out to people, especially where I am in Silicon Valley. A lot of immigrants come to this part of the country, and homeownership, of course, is a big American dream. So for them, it was even more of an entry barrier, not just the standard problems of first-time homebuyers that we see across the country, but with the additional, say, lack of education around what happens if I'm an immigrant, what can I do? Can I get, say, my gift from my foreign country? What happens to my visa status when I'm trying to buy homes? So there were additional, I would say, needs that I was fulfilling by blogging on a lot of those specific topics, very specific to my audience. So from a marketing perspective, really a couple of education for the audience is one, of course, you go where your audience is. My audience was moving online in terms of consumption. And provide value in what they're looking for. I mean, don't be writing about how to be a real estate investor when majority of your audience is trying to buy their first home, because it's not a, as we say in Silicon Valley, it's not a right product market fit. The content that you're creating is not really resonating with your audience. So I did that again. As to answer your question, it did not create a huge lift in the business on day one, but we kept doing it, and over a period of time, I know in the first year I did 7 loans, second year I did 8 million, third year I did 12, fourth year I did 26, and by fifth year I was one of the top 200 loan originators in the country. So it did take time, but it also took a huge amount of discipline in sticking to something that I truly believed will work, both from client acquisition perspective and the kind of message that I wanted to spread. In fact, I wrote an article for HousingWire, said, focus on the message, not the medium. Is because medium keeps changing, but you need to be very consistent with the message that you want to get out there.
So one way you're differentiating yourself and your company is through education and publishing content. What are some of the other ways that InstaMortgage differentiates from your competitors?
I mean, extreme customer centricity is what we have always believed in. And customer centricity can take different shapes depending on the market and the audience you're catering to. And for us, it has always been about extreme customer centricity and to provide the most modern mortgage experience that we can. And for us, when we talk about our clients, we have 3 different clients, 3 different stakeholders that we think of. We think of loan officers who work at InstaMortgage. We think of real estate agent or any other referral partners who are referring us business. And of course, the end borrower, because that's the ultimate consumer experience that we are aiming for. And we do that really, Diego, by innovating at every level. We call it people, process, and technology at InstaMortgage. So even though we are a tech-forward mortgage company, it's not all about technology. There's a huge amount of focus on who we bring to the company, who is elevated, who is promoted, at what level. That's our people focus. Our process focus is continuously improving our processes, much like how Kaizen philosophy is used with Toyota Motor Company in Japan and a lot of other companies, where they're doing a small improvements all the time to ultimately become this the kind of ops company that, say, Toyota became, and became a market leader to replace, say, a lot of American car makers at that time. And then technology, of course, that's something we are really big on in terms of trying to implement new things, experiment with new things. So that probably is something that really differentiates us both in the eyes of our customers and our referral partners and loan officers.
Let's talk a little bit more about technology, because you're one of the few mortgage companies that has fully embedded artificial intelligence into your processes. Why are you, as the company leader, so bullish on AI?
I think it was William Gibson, an economist, 2003, who said the future is already here, it's just not evenly distributed. I think the same thing about AI, not that the AI is that advanced yet, but if you look at other industries, Diego, you look at Copilot improving productivity by almost 56% in computer programming. You look at the medical industry, and they are extracting and analyzing documents 72% faster than they used to. We see similar use cases in multiple industries, including legal. And I think we have been a little behind on the mortgage side. I mean, to a lot of us, it looks like it's brand new, and what is there to be behind. But we really believe that the AI can potentially be the huge disruptor that we have never seen. So the 2 really big things that we have seen so far, 2 technological advancements in both in the mortgage and the real estate industry that has made huge amount of impact, at least in this century, say post 2000, is one, I think, 1.0 or one, I think, was just moving from information asymmetry to information symmetry, where a lot of information was just with the loan officers and the real estate agents, and the borrowers and the homeowners knew nothing about it. Which homes are for sale? What's the current interest rate? There was no online presence for this information. I think that was really big from a consumer experience perspective. And then the digitization of the entire process. Purchase contracts could be digitized now. Loan documents could be digitized. You can complete your loan application online. I think those 2 were huge technological advancements that really moved our industry forward. But none, I think, will ever be or will make the kind of impact that I think the AI will. It will become this pervasive, ubiquitous, omniscient kind of a model that has the potential of upending really every facet of real estate and mortgage industry, on something that we have not seen even with internet, so to say. And I say that is because there are multiple aspects of AI. AI is not just a generative AI that creates content, but you look at machine learning, you look at computer vision technology. If we were to adopt and adapt to the changes that the AI is bringing to the industry, I think we could be looking at an industry which looks very different, both from internal production and how we are reducing the cost of home ownership to the borrowers, and from a consumer experience perspective. So that's why I'm so bullish. And a lot of it is not just potential talk. Some of it is something that we have done internally and we've seen externally actually working already. So it's not just theory that we are talking about.
No, absolutely not. We're really bullish on it as well. It was a topic that was sort of omnipresent at our last event, The Gathering, about a month ago in Scottsdale. And it's a big reason that we're going to be having our upcoming AI Summit in the middle of July. And you'll be a featured speaker, which I'm really excited about. What are you planning to share with that audience of mortgage and real estate executives?
First of all, really, really cool initiative for the Housing Wire to do it. I mean, this is perfect timing. People have, almost everyone in the audience have not just heard of it, they've seen it in action one way or the other. So we are getting a slightly more mature audience than, say, 12 months back. When I was speaking on this topic back then, all probably I was talking about was ChatGPT and how do you use it to create content. Nothing wrong with that. It's still pretty big and can actually solve a lot of problems for us or can improve our productivity. But there is so much more that has happened in the last 12 months. So first of all, kudos on in terms of coming up with that. Really, what I want to talk about, Diego, is going beyond ideating and planning. Is especially Gen AI has had its honeymoon period for the last, say, 12, 14, 18 months. And it's time to move beyond that, move beyond this just being a buzzword or a word that we talk about in terms of, hey, we are planning to do this, we're ideating to do this, and go beyond that and actually taking action and implementing it. So I'll be talking about that. I'll be talking, of course, about some of the use cases we have built internally, and hopefully the audience can learn from it. And most of them are actually shoestring budget. So it's not as if we are talking, say, hey, you need to have tens of millions of dollars to build something like this. And then most importantly, I think I want to talk about our startup mindset. We still are, of course, but when we started exploring into it, is because, especially in Silicon Valley here where I am, what I see with a lot of startups is not that they always know where the end is, but they're open to experimenting and exploration. So experimentation and exploration is a big thing for startups. And even a lot of mature, say, mortgage and real estate companies need to have the same mindset, their executives, thinking that if we might be a mature company or we might have been here for 2 decades or 3, but this technology is still new. Let's take a different look at it instead of saying, hey, if I invest money today, do I get my ROI tomorrow kind of a mindset? Nothing wrong with having an ROI mindset, but thinking a little differently into this, a little bit more long-term into what AI can do. And so those are the things I want to talk about, real life use cases, going beyond ideating and planning and actually implementing it. And most importantly, when you're implementing it, especially with a smaller budget, how do you do that with kind of a startup mindset, which is, let's give it a shot, let's try multiple things, let's iterate, and then make it work and the ROI will happen.
Well, you've got me really energized and excited for the event. It will be great to meet you in person in Dallas in a couple of months. So I'll see you then. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Diego.